Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's Soul Service Astrology 13 Signs Sidereal update for the week commencing the 12th of April. I had a little holiday last week, so you wouldn't have had a live from me last week. And that's all right. I give you permission to have a break. I give you permission to have a rest. I give you permission to find time and space. And in actual fact, that fits really well with this week's astrology, which I'll get into in just in a minute. Now, if you've never met me before, if you're stumbling across this video on YouTube, or perhaps you found the link on my social somewhere, or perhaps you found the link via my blog on my website, welcome, welcome, welcome. I love questions, comments. You can hashtag replay if you don't catch me live. Please let me know what your 13 signs sidereal sun sign is. You can go over to my Facebook page, my profile, Kelly Gunter, and check out the dates, or my Instagram also has it in the highlights reel. You can click on that and find out what your 13 sign sun sign is. Now, what is this that I'm talking about? 13 sign sidereal astrology. Essentially, it's the astrology that matches up with astronomy. Yes, we've been fed a little bit of a myth that 99% of modern day astrology does not match astronomy. And there's a reason for that. Tropical astrology, and I'm talking Western tropical astrology or Western 13 sign sidereal astrology, the Eastern astrologies, which I haven't studied, have usually always followed sidereal astrology. It's just us Westerners decided to stick with the old worldview that the Earth was fixed and it didn't move, it didn't fluctuate, it didn't wobble, and that the planets and the sun revolved around the Earth. So that is a geocentric philosophy that was around in, the early centuries Common Era. However, what we understand now in our modern technological age is that, of course, it's a heliocentric system. So we're revolving around the sun, as are all the planets, and the Earth wobbles. And that wobble, that phenomenon, is called precession. And that's why you need to observe the planets where you are at this point in this time to be able to identify and then draw meaning from the planets. So the astronomy is the measurements of the universe, the measurements of the solar system, the measurements, the science, the facts, the information about our celestial sphere. Astrology is the meaning that we derive from it. And humans have done this for what appears to be millions of years if you go back and you look at the archaeology and the finds of etchings on bones, wall carvings, the megalithic structures in Western Europe and in England and Ireland, Scotland, all those big stone structures, they're linked to the sky. But of course, when writing was developed in what is now modern day Iran and Iraq, and it was known as Babylon back then, that's when writing was developed. And when writing was developed, they were able to record. And did they record? So the Babylonians tracked and recorded the planets for over 700 years. So they had the mathematical tracking of all the planets, the visible planets, the moon and the sun, in relation to the constellations that they observed. And then they also had some predictions with it as well. 700 years they kept that up. So that is where Western astrology comes from. And then it got morphed over the years, as these sorts of things do. So that's basically where astrology, our Western version of astrology, comes from. And it got locked into the tropical system because it essentially made it easier. And they didn't really know that the planet was doing this in ancient Roman times. They didn't even know it was doing it in Babylon. What they were observing in Babylon is what they were observing. So what I'm saying is join the 13 sign sidereal revolution and observe the planets where they're actually located at your time of birth for your natal chart and now for your transits. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. What's going on in our sky for the next week. So we start today, I'm just getting my notes. We start today with a Pisces new moon. Now, the last new moon was on the cusp with Aquarius and Pisces. So we've gone a whole 29 days essentially in Pisces. And we now also have a stellium in Pisces. We have 5 planets. The moon's going to move out in the next couple of days. So it's a quick one, but it's been building. And it's been building since mid-March, excuse me. So we've had this building energy. We had a lot of Capricorn energy. It was heavy. We had to do the work. We had to clear things out. We had to build. We had to be consistent. We had to be earth-based. Then we had this breath of fresh air in Aquarius. It moved very quickly. You could vision, you could receive information, you could do some downloads. And then we've moved into Pisces. And the call is very, very strong. We need to come back to our sacred selves. We need to come back into connection with spirit. We need to come back into interconnection with all that is. Now, as an example, a conversation that was had at our dinner table tonight with Mr. 8, Mr. 6, and my husband was, what happens after you die? Yes, we have the big conversations at our dinner table. And my youngest, who has brought up death a number of times, and that's totally fine, we're cool with it. He then realised, I said, well, when you die, you would rot and you would then go back into the ground, and those creatures that rotted you, you would become part of them, and then something might eat them. And then he started to talk about dust, and I'd end up being dust. And then I could end up being part of a tree. And then I'd be a tall tree, and I'd love that. I think that was really cool when I was a tall tree. So what this 6-year-old had identified was the connection of everything that we have, even in death. But we have that now too, with every single breath and with every single piece of food that we take into our body. Now, in relation to the Pisces new moon, a new moon is where the innocent archetype steps in. It's fresh, it's new. Right? We're setting a new intention for the next 29 days. And the call is to set an intention, connect to your spiritual self. It's no more I'm separate to everything. It's how am I interconnected to everything, and how can I expand and attune to that interconnection? What intention can you set to feel more connected to your spiritual self? That's today. There is a little bit of a square happening to Venus today as well, and Venus is conjunct the new moon and the sun, so they're all sitting conjunct. So, of course, Pluto is the transformer. So what I just described to you, there may be this inattention, this transformation. This might be very transformational for you. Beliefs might get thrown up because Pluto's sitting in Sagittarius. Beliefs and trust and faith in this process, it feels really difficult for me to continue to step towards what it is that I don't know. This whole idea of non-attachment and non-judgment as to where I'm going, and attaching myself to the spiritual self, and attaching myself to being guided by this interconnection with Earth and everything that is, rather than being attached to and guided by my materialistic desires or my logical mind. So that's the new moon. And then when we move into Tuesday, we have a trine, North Node and Saturn. So the North Node is in Taurus and Saturn is in Capricorn. The North Node I link very much to our mission. It's also, I feel, linked with our legacy. It's almost like where we're being guided to go this lifetime. The South Node is what we've done a lot of. They're those things that you've done. It's easy. It's kind of like your zone of excellence, or your zone of, I'm pretty good at this, I'll just keep doing this. It's comfortable. North Node, uncomfortable. Okay. Now it's in Earth, in Taurus. So your mission is building this beautiful structure this lifetime. And I think of that as the archetype, right? So what beautiful thing are you building, crafting this lifetime as part of your legacy? And with a trine, it's nice energy, right? Trine is nice energy. It's a flow. It's an ease. Saturn in Capricorn is leader. Are you leading yourself towards that you desire to build? Are you leading yourself towards those uncomfortable edges into your mission, that thing that you want to birth this lifetime? And you're supported to do that this week with the North Node in Taurus. Wednesday, we have Venus moving into Aries. So you'll now start to hear that there's a little bit of a shift in guard. So we had new moon, lots of Pisces energy. Now we're going to shift into Aries energy. And this is great. If you use the Pisces energy that remains for the next few days to really allow yourself to step into that mystical nature, step into you shining a light into this world and being guided, not by your mind, not by your materialistic desires, just being guided. And then as Venus steps into Aries, we start to have this single point of focus and we start to make the connections that we need to start to get the things done that we want to get done. There's a concentrated focus towards this creation because Venus likes to create and also connect. Now, you're not going to waste your time with connections that aren't in alignment. So what might also come up is you might also meet the stories around why this connection is not in alignment, or you might feel really out of alignment. Feeling is very much a Venus state. You might feel out of alignment with a particular relationship you've got. Not just intimate relationships I'm talking about when it comes to Venus. When I talk about Venus, I'm also talking about business, friendships. Now, they might feel out of alignment. And Aries, being that warrior energy, being that very direct energy, is calling for you to deal with it. Now, if that pops up after Venus has been in Pisces, where you've had a taste of that connection to everything that is, that essence of something bigger than you, spirit, and then this relationship comes up and you go, right, this is not in alignment with me anymore. So we have to put our big people pants on and make some decisions around that and whether that relation stays or goes. Alternatively, you might have really wonderful relationships and you can go deeper, focus, concentrated, connect on a deeper level in Aries. Then on Thursday, we have Jupiter, which is in Capricorn, and Mars, which is in Taurus, sextiling the Sun in Pisces. So there's still quite a bit of earth energy, isn't there? There's this Capricorn energy still with Jupiter and Taurus energy with Mars. But it's a sextile towards the Sun, and the Sun in the sign of the beacon, Pisces. So you're being called to be a beacon, to shine your spiritual essence into the world. It's part of your heart. Your spirit is part of your heart and it wants to come out and connect with others. And that's the archetypal quality of the Sun. Now you have everything you need. You have everything you need, that is sextile energy, to seek out those that you need to connect with, to seek out the resources that you need to expand into that leadership quality that you're seeking, to be concentrated and focused on that creation and that building of your one thing towards your impact and your legacy and your mission and your vision. So use Thursday to go, okay, how can I expand a little bit more into this beacon energy that I'm feeling? I want to shine myself a little bit more. Maybe it's sharing my message more. Maybe it's writing about what something heartfelt means to me to be spiritual. So that's on Thursday. Friday, we have a little bit of square energy coming in later in the week. So we've had this expansive energy. We've had this nice flow. We've had everything we need. We feel resourced. We've connected with spirit. Now comes the test. And of course, the ego is there so that we can have this earth experience. The ego just doesn't run the show, right? But the ego is there for a reason. It's to keep us safe. It's to protect us. But we want to make sure that it's not protecting us from things that aren't really going to cause us any harm. And our thoughts aren't going to cause us any harm, right? So on Friday and Sunday, I'm going to talk about Friday and Sunday together. We have Pluto square the Sun, and then we have Pluto square Mercury. Now, these kind of go hand in hand. So as I mentioned, today we have Pluto square Venus. So there is this transformation in relation to our connections, and that's picked up with Venus moving into Aries. Friday, there's a transformation as to how we express ourselves, and that's exactly everything I've talked about. People might notice a change in you. You're different. What are you doing? You've connected to something, and then the doubt might come in. Oh, this isn't real, and that's the doubt. That's Mercury. That's Mercury coming in and going, no, everything has to be real and tangible for you to believe it. It can't be, some kind of energetic, mystical thing. What are you doing? So that's when you start getting the fear thoughts or the limiting beliefs, if you want to call them those. And that's where you've got to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. Thoughts program feelings, and feelings program our reality. Beliefs program thoughts. Let's go back a step. Beliefs program thoughts. Thoughts program feelings. Feelings programs what we see in our reality. So if you have these feelings, if you're stepping into your mission, you're stepping out, you're connecting with your spiritual nature, and you've decided this is it. I'm going to express myself differently. I'm going to show everyone who I really am under here, and I don't care anymore. The subconscious is going to throw up, she's not been here before, or he's not been here before. I've got to keep them safe. Okay. Well, what if people don't like you? What if people think you're mad? What if people ask you to provide evidence? That's a real Mercury thing. All right. So you're going to get these limiting beliefs. Sit with them. Ask yourself, are they really true? Are they really, really true? How do those beliefs make you feel? I guarantee you they're going to make you feel pretty shit. Right? Now, the flip side is to sit with that and go, this is making me feel really shit. You've got to consciously acknowledge that those thoughts are making you feel really shit, to then sit there and think and feel, what if I didn't have those thoughts? What if? What if I didn't have those thoughts? How would I feel? And then you place your hands on your hearts and you close your eyes on your hearts, on your heart, and you close your eyes and you connect in with that feeling of, if you didn't have those limiting beliefs, that I'm not good enough, that people will think I'm weird and woo-woo, and people will ask me for evidence, and you'll be grateful for where you're at. And you dive into that feeling of gratefulness and expand into that. And if you need to, you write yourself a new declaration around it is where you're heading. So that's the square energy on Friday and Sunday. And then the last really lovely energy that comes in later in the week on Saturday is Jupiter is trine Mars. The warrior, Mars, is really carving a path for us to produce new ideas, to produce and build beautiful things. And I'm not necessarily talking about tangible things, but services, businesses, art. It's paving a way for us. Here's a clear pathway. You've got everything you need. Here's the flow. Here's the pathway. I'm showing you. It's like, the dude at the airport, when we go to the airport, which is not that much these days, showing the planes where to go, land here. Basically, that's Mars in Taurus saying, right, trust yourself. Jupiter in Capricorn, trust and faith in yourself as the expert, as the leader in what it is that you are desiring to create in this world this lifetime, and start taking action around it. Trust and faith, and the pathway is clear. So there's some beautiful energy this week to allow you to step into what it is that you want to create this lifetime, to allow you to step back into that sacred self. And if you need some space and rest and rejuvenation, Pisces, the energies of Pisces definitely allow you to do that. Now we're in a period where there's no retrogrades. Pluto's going to go retrograde at the end of the month. So now is a good time to start taking some action, right? Doesn't have to be big steps, but it needs to be intentional and it needs to be connected with your spirit-led desires, spirit-led pleasure, spirit-led success, spirit-led service, spirit-led. Do what your heart is calling you to do. That is this week. If you would like to work with me, I'm a spiritual mentor and I'm obviously a 13-sign sidereal astrologer. At the moment, I have birth chart evaluations available. You can go to my website, kellygunter.com, and buy one of those. And that's a one-on-one session and it is a bespoke report that will reveal and clarify your mission and purpose this lifetime and also give you your triangle of power. And that's something unique to my service, is that I give you your triangle of power that you will work with for the rest of your life. You will also receive a one-on-one session with me, which will be traditional astrology, but it's also intuitively led as well. The second half is intuitively led. The planets talk through me as I channel, and then I reveal that information to you. So I'm not your typical astrologer. I'm a rebel astrologer. Rebel. Kel the rebel. And if you're not ready to sign up for a birth chart evaluation yet, then please come and join me in my free Facebook group, Sidereal Stars with Kel Gunter. The link is below this video, where I put every single day, I put a little comment in the morning in relation to these aspects. They're all different. And you can also interact with other people that are interested in astrology. And every month I go live at least twice a month. And I'm sure I'm going to stick other wonderful things in that group as well as it grows. So please come and join. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.